way. So once again, just to mention, this is a workshop that has been structured and positioned to help you build trust in your teams. It's a workshop that has been organized by Africa for Tomorrow, and I am one of the principal consultants at Africa for Tomorrow. But at the same time, I am part of the biggest leadership and transformation organization in the world, which is the Maxwell Foundation. I'm the National Transformation Coordinator for Eswatini, and running a couple of John Maxwell's programs in the nation. So let's get right ahead and get to see what is in store for us as we get in the process of learning. Remember, building trust in teams is designed to help you facilitate and cultivate a culture in your organization, in your institution, where all people feel connected, engaged, and valued. I want to start off with this quote by Michael Jordan. He says, "Talent wins games. Talent wins games, but teamwork and intelligence win championships." There's a huge difference between any sort of a game and a championship, right? Because the ultimate thing that any team, whether it could be a basketball team, it could be a football team, or it could be your team within your organization, the ultimate thing that you are intending to win as a team, as an organization, is the championships of whatever field that you are in or whatever service that you offer to the people that you serve. Yes, it's good to win games. It's good to win all your targets on a daily, weekly basis, because they all contribute to how you're going to be successful in the future. But ultimately, what we are aiming at, what we're looking at achieving, what we're looking at accomplishing is the bigger picture, which is the championships of whatever that you do. So I strongly agree with what Michael Jordan says, and this is the perspective that we should have if we are going to actually become more effective as organizations, as teams as well. Because at times, individual talent in our organization often is more emphasized than team. There are organizations that emphasize individual capabilities, skills, and talents, which are all good. But at times you realize that they are overemphasized the importance of working together as a team, collaborating together as a team, so that you can be able to see yourselves become more effective. So here's one thing that I want you to appreciate and realize. If you are going to be a high-performing team, this is one thing that you've got to realize. High-performing teams are built around purpose and trust. High-performing teams are built around purpose and trust. So it's so important for your organization to realize that, you know what, if we are going to be effective, if we are going to find ourselves attaining the goals that we have set and attaining the vision that has been cast, if we're going to ourselves and our teams becoming productive and being high-performing teams, we need to build our teams around purpose and trust. Now, I want you to think about this. Do all your teams in your organization understand the purpose that they have been established for? Like, why are they established? Why are the teams in your organization structured the way that they're structured? Why do you have the kind of departments that you have in your organization? Do those people who are part of those departments, part of those divisions, part of those teams really understand the purpose of their team or the purpose of their division? Because that's very important. If you are going to find your teams performing highly at a high level, being able to utilize their resources, utilize their time, utilize the equipment and all the things that you've put together for them to use in order to achieve their goals. If you're going to have your organization have teams such as teams that are high performing, then you need to make sure you build those teams around the purpose of the organization, which helps you to define the purpose of the teams as well. But another thing that's very important, which we're going to lean on a lot today, is building your teams around trust. building your teams around trust. Because any team that doesn't have trust being a core value, being the foundation of the team, is a group of people who, yes, might be looking at a specific goal that they are aiming to accomplish together, but the challenge is the together element is not well established. Because there is no togetherness, there is no agreement, there is no alignment if you are unable to trust one another in a team. And I'm talking about a team of 2 people, team of 4 people, a team of 10, 20, whatever size of a team you've got. You need to realize that if you don't have trust, well-grounded, well-established in your team, then it's difficult for you to walk in alignment, in agreement, and function in that kind of alignment that you would want to function in. So bear that in mind. High-performing teams are built around the purpose of the organization. What's our mission? What's our vision? What business are we in? What do we do on a day-to-day basis? What we do? What does it align to? What does it bring forth? What does it, at the end of the day, help us to accomplish and to attain? So you build around the purpose of the organization, the purpose of institution or your business, but at the same time, you also need to build around trust. So that's very crucial as well. Now, I want to just quickly pause a bit and ask us to just participate in a quick poll. I want us to participate in a quick poll. I want you to answer the questions that are just popping up on your screen right now. Questions that are relating to how your team is, the status of your team with regards to trust issues. So the question is, could your team be suffering from trust issues? So we've got a couple of options there that I want you to read through and respond based on your absolute truth, okay? Please respond based on your absolute truth. Are any of the following scenarios common in your team? The first one is tough conversations are avoided. Do you find situations where tough conversations in your team are avoided? Do you find situations where there is poor or lack of communication in your team? Or do you find situations where there's lack of team cohesion? Do you find situations maybe in your team where some people do not get along? No matter what is tried, no matter what you try to put in place, some people do not get along. Or you find situations in your teams where people don't feel that it is a safe space or it is safe for them to speak or to air their views. What's the most common thing? What's the most common situation or issue that you find in your teams within your organization? So I'm seeing so far with the responses that are coming through, it looks like most people are saying people do not feel that it is safe to speak or to air views or expose things that have gone wrong, right? So just waiting for others to respond, because so far just under 70% of the people who are logged in right now have participated, just waiting for us to at least hit the 80% mark, so that we can at least have a good idea of how things are, okay? So we have, so far some people are saying people do not feel that it's safe to speak or to air views or expose things that have gone wrong. And we've got some people who are saying, well, some people do not get along in our teams, right? Just waiting, 1 or 2 more people, please just give us a response and let's see. Okay, so now we're at 88%, right? So just a minute or two, just to give maybe that 1 or 2 people an opportunity to just put in their response as well. But so far, what we are seeing, what's coming out from everybody who's logged in right now, is that there are people in your teams who feel that it's so difficult to speak and to air views or to expose things that have gone wrong. Because let's agree, let's agree, okay? Okay, I think now we can call out the responses. So 38% think that people do not feel that it's safe to speak or air views or expose things. 25% say there are people who do not get along. Then 25% as well say there is poor or lack of communication. And 13% say, well, there are tough conversations in our organization that are always being avoided. As you can see on the screen, I've just shared the responses with you on your screens. I hope you can see them right now. Okay, so that's the thing. That's the status that we're seeing now from what you're saying. People find it difficult to speak or to air their views, give out ideas, or give out some perspective that they have pertaining to your strategy, for example, or pertaining to whatever that you're doing. And at the same time, you've got individuals within that bracket as well who feel like it's so difficult to expose things that have gone wrong. Now, I know, you know, considering and looking at where we are coming from with the pandemic in the past 2 years, with civil unrest here in Eswatini, and, you know, with so much issues pertaining to the economical status of our nation, not even just our nation, but of the world globally, with the war happening in Ukraine as well right now. There's so many things that are affecting business, so many issues that have come about in the past 2-3 years that definitely have affected how you function, how you work, how you progress in terms of your pursuit of vision. And here's the thing, with all the things that you have tried to work on, with all the things that you have tried to implement, innovative ideas, new strategies, like your quick strategies during the pandemic. The thing is, so many people probably have experienced situations and circumstances where they have found themselves at a place where they no longer trust the people that they work with. They no longer trust their supervisors. They no longer trust their superiors, their managers. They no longer trust their directors, their executives. Why? Because they have been looking at how decisions have been made in the past 2 to 3 years. People have seen how probably good ideas have been brought forth, but they were not implemented. How good ideas have been brought forth, but nobody listened to those good ideas. How efforts of trying to be innovative in the circumstances we've been finding ourselves in have all been pushed down and suppressed. How there hasn't been any form of flexibility or agility in how things are done within our organizations. And all those things have actually now come to affect how people, number one, trust one another within teams, how people trust their team leaders, and how people trust the direction that the organizations are going towards. Like, are we still pursuing our strategy that we had, that we worked around in 2019 or 2018, or the strategy has changed? And if the strategy has changed, has anyone communicated that the strategy has changed? What things are we putting in place to ensure that we are not going to face or struggle any challenges that emanate from the risks that potentially are going to affect our organization as we go through? So you've got everybody being in that place of uncertainty, in essence. Uncertainty because of what's happening globally, what's happening nationally, but at the same time, because of the state of our organizations, where so many things have been disrupted already. So for your new intern, your graduate intern who's just come in and joined your organization, the question that is in their mind is, okay, so now I've joined the organization. You've now brought me in and have me understand the mission of the organization and all of that. So now what? What else? What else are we going to do to make me feel a part of the team? For those who have been a part of the organization for a long time, they're thinking, is it time for me to still remain in this organization? Or I need to, retire, I need to quit, I need to look for a new job, I need to relocate. There's so many things that are happening in the minds of the people that we are working with. So uncertainty is really right now at the top of a lot of things. And whenever you have uncertainty being at that kind of a level of dominance in your teams or organizations, then you need to appreciate and recognize one thing. Untrustworthiness is the principal foundation or feature in any time of uncertainty. When you are experiencing uncertainty, when your teams are experiencing uncertainty, know that one thing for sure that is right, it's untrustworthiness. Because when people do not have trust, when people can't trust one another, what happens is even the ability or the perspective or the focus of progress or the focus of growth in the team and organization, it starts to dwindle. It starts to diminish. It's, people no longer have morale. People are no longer optimistic. Why? Because there's so much uncertainty, not just globally or nationally, but within the organization and within the teams. So that's why it's important for us to talk about building trust. That's why it's important for us to talk about building trust. So we're not going to do this poll. We're going to send it to you later on because of time, so that you can do it in your own time. So now let's quickly talk about why organizations have teams, right? Why do organizations actually have teams? Now, before I want to continue, I'm realizing that there are quite a number of people who have logged in. Welcome once again to the Building Trust in Teams workshop. My name is Berven. I'm the principal consultant for AFT, Africa for Tomorrow, and I'm part of the biggest transformation organization in the whole world, which is the Maxwell Foundation, which equips and transforms leaders throughout the world. That's the John Maxwell Foundation. And I'm so excited that you logged in, and I hope you are already getting value as we're going through this session. So why do organizations have teams? Well, it's simple, and I know you know it, but I want us to just go through it quickly so that you can grasp where we are heading. Now, here's the thing. Every organization should have a mission and a vision, right? You've got the reason why you were established as an organization, and that sort of like shapes your mission as an institution or as an organization or as a business. Something that you believe your organization was established for. Could be a problem that had to be solved, a problem that humanity is experiencing or is facing that you solve as an organization. And now when you've got your mission, you establish your vision, which is more like a forecast, futuristic picture of where you want to be in terms of what you do as an organization, say in the next 3 years or in the next 5 years or 10 years. That shapes sort of like your vision, the forecast that you have. Now, for every vision, I know rightfully put, like in the sense in terms of your organization, you've got a strategy. It could be a 3-year strategy. It could be a 2-year or 1-year strategy. Of late, 1-year strategies have become very popular because of the disruptions we've been facing. So you can have a 1-year, 2-year, or 3-year strategy, or 5-year if you are strong enough as an organization to establish such a strategy that is long-term in that sense, because you need a lot of insight to have such a strategy that's long-term. So you have your strategy, which helps you to shape how you're going to attain and realize the vision of your organization. Now, out of that strategy and understanding of the vision and mission, you establish goals. Like, these are the specific targets that we've got for the next year, for the next 3 months, for the next 18 months, or whatever the case. Numbers that you set in line with what you want to attain, what you want to accomplish, what you want to achieve as an organization. Now, out of the understanding of those goals, you get to establish your action plan, which helps you realize the specific roles and responsibilities that are supposed to be taken up in order for those goals to be accomplished and those goals to be achieved. Now, once you've got your roles and responsibilities set out, that gives birth to what we call divisions or teams or departments, because each and every department defines specific responsibilities that are supposed to be taken care of within your organization. And each and every department or division or team, in as much as it's got those responsibilities, it also then further defines the roles that have to be taken up in order for those responsibilities to be met. So that's when you've got the executors of the roles and responsibilities, which are the employees that you've got. And then different people have different roles and responsibilities that they've got within the organization. I know you guys are smart and you know all of that, but here's the thing. What does trust then look like within such a setup, within teams, within an organization? So here's the first thing that I want you to realize and appreciate. Trust, when we're talking about trust within your organization, we're talking about when a situation of reliance, for example, when there is reliance on each team member's ability to deliver the things that they are expected to deliver within their organization. So each and every team has got roles and responsibilities, right? But within those roles and responsibilities, there are expectations that are placed upon each and every one of the team members. Now, for us to say we trust one another, what it means is we rely on each other to be able to meet the expectations that have been set upon each one of us within our teams. Now, those expectations, more importantly, they are defined based on our ability to deliver. So if you've got an accountant in your organization, you expect the accountant to deliver the expectations set upon them based on their ability to do accounting. Now, accounting during calm times, calm economic times, outside of a pandemic, outside of disruption, accounting is not that difficult. But when it's within a pandemic, when there is a lot of disruptions, when there is a lot of chaos happening inside the organization and outside the organization, then the way that you do accounting really would be challenged. You would be expected to stretch yourself so that you are able to meet the expectations that have been set for you. The same goes for a manager. The same goes for any technocrat within your organization. The same goes to apply to each and every individual within your team, the reception, the administrator, everyone is expected to function and meet the expectations that have been set for them or deliver those expectations based on the environment you find yourself in. But again, what does trust in teams look like? The other thing is reliance on character. So when there is reliance on each team member's consistency in character, that's when we've got an organization or a team that has trust well established in it. So it's two core things. Reliance on each team member's ability to deliver, that's based on their skills, based on their ability to do the work. Number two, reliance on each team member's ability to consistently express a positive and good character within the context of how we are doing our work. I want you to think about it quickly as well. In the sense of your team, think about your team right now. Just think about your team and think about all your team members. And as you're just imagining your team members and seeing them right now in your eyes, think about those that are reliable when it comes to ability to deliver what is expected of them. That's from a skills perspective. And also think about those who are not able to deliver. You ask them to do something, they say, okay, I'm going to work on it, but they can't deliver. Not because that they don't want, but because they are unable, skills-wise, capability-wise. Then at the same time, think about those people that you can rely on when it comes to consistency in character, right? Either they are always positive, either they are an individual who is good when it comes to prioritizing things, prioritizing time, prioritizing tasks. Or they're an individual, who is bold to say, you know what, we need to do something. We need to do something different if we are going to continue being productive. Or they're an individual, who is who's compliant. Whatever that has been structured to say, this is how we do things. This is the system that we use in our work, and we use to apply what we do. They are, consistent in character, they are compliant, or whatever character that they have. Do you have individuals who are consistent that you can rely on their character, or you have individuals within your team that you can't rely on? Just think about that, because we've got different people in our teams. And I believe as we are continuing, you're starting to see some gaps, not just with the people within your team, apart from yourself, but in many cases, I believe already you're seeing probably some gaps as well with you being a team member within your organization or your teams. Now here's another thing that I want us to really grasp and appreciate in terms of us realizing the importance of establishing trust within our teams. There are benefits to it. And then the first thing that I want you to realize and appreciate is that when you establish trust within your teams, right? Trust helps you to improve confidence and commitment amongst your team members, because trust is essential to any effective team. Any team that's effective in what they do, any team that's effective in terms of being productive, in terms of being individuals, a team that can accomplish the goals that have been set for them. Any team that's effective, you realize they are effective because there is trust that is well established and founded within their team, and that helps to improve confidence amongst each and every team member. And once people are confident to do their work, confident to innovate or to speak, you realize that their level of commitment, it goes up. Why? Because the moment an individual is confident in their environment and workplace, they become more interested in that environment. They become more interested in the work that they do and in the people that they work with. I don't know if you've ever been in a situation where Sunday evening you realize, it dawns on you that, oh my goodness, it's Sunday. And the moment you realize it's Sunday, the thing that comes to your mind is not just that it's Sunday and you still have some time with your family and some time to rest, but you start thinking about Monday. And for some people, their heart breaks. For some people, start to even panic at that moment. Some people start to be frustrated. Why? Because they're thinking, here I go again to that situation. Here we go again to that situation where I'm meeting that person that I don't like, that person who doesn't like me, those people that don't trust me. Here we go again to that place where I'm going to be working in whatever environment that I'm not so happy or comfortable in. So we need to build trust within our organizations, because that will help improve confidence and commitment amongst team members. You will have individuals who are so excited that it's a Monday, and in as much as they love to rest and they are happy to go for the weekend, but they can't wait for the next Monday. So trust helps you to establish that kind of an environment. The second benefit is when your team members feel safe with each other because trust has been established, they feel comfortable to open up and to be vulnerable, instead of spending time protecting themselves and protecting their interests, because this is very crucial. I don't know if you've been in a situation or an organization where when you sit around the table, when you're having a conversation about something that you want to pursue as a team or as an organization, they are individuals that you can tell whatever ideas that they are pulling down or ideas that they are propelling, they are ideas that are not necessarily the ideas we need. But these individuals are pushing those ideas either up front or pushing them down because they want to protect themselves or because they want to protect their interests. There are people who are unreliable in our teams, or maybe rather, they don't feel trusted enough to the extent that when someone says, okay, we want to do A, B, and C, and for example, it's myself, and you're saying, Berven, we want you to take up this responsibility. If I feel like, you know what, I've never been trusted with such a thing, and I've come to a point where I don't even trust myself, I'll push the idea down and say it's not a good idea, because you know what, I'm thinking in my mind, I need to protect my interest. So I'm positioning myself as an individual who's unreliable. Why? Because trust has not well been established within the organization. So it's very important for you to establish trust so that people, remember, we said they become more confident. So when an opportunity for them comes, for them to do something, to spearhead something, to lead something within the organization, they will become, they will express themselves confidently, and they will not necessarily just push their interests or try to protect themselves, but they feel comfortable to open up. They feel comfortable to be vulnerable, to say, you know what, last time when I tried to do this thing, it didn't really work. Guys, I need ideas from you. I know it's my responsibility to do this, but I need ideas from you. Please give me ideas that you think will work in line with what I'm trying to work on. People open up and people become more vulnerable. So that environment becomes a safe space. It becomes a safe environment for people to share, people to talk, people to, they're not afraid to embarrass themselves. They're not afraid to suggest something, even if they are not sure about it. That's an environment that is healthy for your organization and healthy for your teams to become more effective. But the third benefit that you can get from establishing or building trust within your teams is you realize that people start to take appropriate, because they have to be appropriate, more especially in the environment we're in, people start to take appropriate risks. They start to become more innovative and more comfortable in thinking of new ideas and solutions. They're no longer afraid to collaborate with another team member, to collaborate with another department, to collaborate with another subsidiary. They're so confident and so calm and so much positioned to want to be innovative, to think creatively, and want to do more, go an extra mile in being productive in what they do. Such an environment, you can only get it when you cultivate a culture of trust, when you cultivate an environment where people trust each other. So you want to have this kind of environments, an environment where your team members are confident and they are more committed to serve the other team members, to contribute within the organization and within the team. You want to have an environment, a culture where within your organization, people are comfortable to open up and they're comfortable to be vulnerable. You want to be in an environment where people are comfortable and happy to be innovative and to think creatively and to collaborate with other people. And you can only get these benefits if you establish trust within your organization. But another thing that's big within our organizations is the challenge where it comes to sharing knowledge. Knowledge management is very difficult in most organizations. And the reason is so many people want to be Superman and Superwomen. People who do not want to share the glory of knowing information, or people who don't want to share information because they feel like if I share information, it makes me irrelevant. So many organizations find themselves in such a situation where you've got leaders, managers, or even just people within our teams who are not comfortable to share knowledge. And I want to tell you that if you establish trust within your teams, within your organization, if you facilitate that culture of trust and that culture of people being comfortable with one another, you realize that they'll be comfortable to share knowledge, to say, you know what, there's something that I have learned in how I do stuff, in how we do stuff. And I think it's going to help you. It will help you to be more effective. It will help you be more efficient. Try to do things this way. Because if you establish trust, it eliminates those heroes within the organization, and you start to cultivate a culture of teamwork. And the last benefit that I'm going to share with you today is, if you establish trust within your teams, what happens is it establishes a sense of community and belonging, which leads to lesser and healthier conflicts. Because there are conflicts that are healthy, but sadly, in most organizations, the conflicts that we always have are conflicts that are negative, conflicts that destroy the team spirit, conflicts that destroy and discourage people to be effective and to be productive in what they do. So these are the 5 quick benefits that you can get if you position your team to be a team that has a well structured foundation of trust. And I want to encourage you to do that. Now, here are quick things that I want you to think about. Think about this. The first thing, does your team really depend on each other? Looking at your team, does your team really depend on each other? Or you've got individuals who want to do things all by themselves? Does your team really depend on each other? The second thing is, does your team trust each other's capabilities? Does your team trust each other's capabilities? The third question is, I want you to think about these things. When delegation happens in your organization, is it just tasks that are delegated, or it's both tasks and authority that is delegated? When delegation happens, when you delegate stuff to someone else within your organization, within your team, do you just delegate tasks, or you delegate both tasks and authority? Because all these questions, they help you to realize whether or not you trust one another within the team. And the last thing is, do you have a shared values system as a team? Do you have a shared values system as a team? So think about these things. I'm not necessarily going to ask you to respond right now because of time, but would really love for you to email us, please, because I think all of you, you've got our contacts, our emails. Probably someone is just going to put up our contact details in the chat section. Please make use of those so that you can be able to reach out to us, and we can help you establish, a foundation of trust within your organization based on where you are, So think about these things, that if you want to reach out, feel free to reach out. So here's the thing. As Africa for Tomorrow, we want to help you build trust in your teams. And we want to help you build trust in your teams through a process that you can implement as soon as possible, as soon as next week. Something that you can establish as soon as next week. Today's Friday, so let's talk of next week. As soon as next week, to the extent that by the time you are done with April, right? By the time you are done with April, you're going to see significant changes in terms of the structure of your organization and the structure, more especially when it comes to culture of your team, Something that for those who have just who are in their new financial year, and it has just started in this month, for those who have just started their new financial years, to the extent that by the end of your first quarter, you are going to see significant change in terms of how people collaborate within your teams and how people work together. So what's that system or process that I'm talking about, right? So we want to help you build trust by building a culture where remember, number one, connected, where people feel connected, where people feel engaged, and where people feel valued. We want you to build trust within your teams and organizations through a methodology that has been tried and tested, and it's easy to implement. Through a methodology that will help you unlock your organization and your teams to high engagement and high performance. And that specific methodology, we call it Staff Empowerment Talks, SETS for short. Staff Empowerment Talks. So this is a methodology that helps to promote healthy conversations within your teams. Because most of the conversations that we have within our teams are conversations that are structured on blame. It's either we are pointing fingers at each other to say, you do this, or you were the one who did that. We don't have conversations that are encouraging, conversations that are promoting, conversations that elevate team members, conversations that are healthy. Most of the conversations are finger-pointing conversations of just saying, do that and do this, or things are like this because you did that or you didn't do that. So we want to move away from that, move into a place where your organization cultivates that culture of having a two-way kind of a conversation or opportunity to communicate, where within your team you have healthy conversations and your colleagues and your colleagues become more transparent. You have an opportunity to grow, to understand one another. So these staff empowerment talks are talks that really help you, in a sense, be able to establish a way of team bonding within your organization, where teams are able to bond and connect, where teams are able to, at an individual perspective, individuals are able to have self-revelation of who they really are, and also understanding of the other people within their teams to say, oh, I didn't really understand or know you, Dudu. It's my first time. I've worked with you for the past 5 or 10 years, but this is my first time to really understand what kind of a person you are, to really understand how you do things, to really understand how you are wired, your values, to understand your character, to understand where you're coming from when you make decisions. And now I really understand, because if you don't understand one another, it's difficult for you to even get to that point of trusting one another. So you need to establish these kind of conversations that help you to facilitate transparency and facilitate a way of understanding one another. And that's what we're offering you. We're offering you these staff empowerment talks, and you can actually do them in person. You can do them on any other platform, on Zoom or on Microsoft Teams. Now, we've got 2 modules that we want to offer you. The first module is called Beyond Success module, which has got the following topics that you can see: topics on relationships, topics on moving from good intentions to good actions, topics of personal growth and priorities and attitude and the likes. These topics are topics that can help you facilitate these healthy conversations, because they're topics that you're going to do. It's not training whereby one person goes to learn how you can establish trust. In the case that we have right now, where probably it's just one person from one organization or one team who has come in, but you've got everyone within your teams being able to have an opportunity to go through this training together as a team, so that you can learn together and grow together, but more importantly, transform together. Because so many organizations and teams, they are for transformation. They are for transformation, but the problem is transformation is not done in a complete way, whereby each person within the team participates in the transformation. So the good news with this specific module is that the pricing for it's sponsored. It's a sponsored program that you can use to cultivate a good culture of trust within your team. Let me tell you, it starts off from the point of attitude. If you want to see how you can transform, you need to do this specific value on attitude, because people, we all have an attitude, right? Whether good or bad. But the problem is we don't realize the way that our individuals' attitudes affect productivity, because we often have a negative attitude towards one another within our teams. For some people, they have a negative attitude towards their team members. They have a negative attitude towards their leaders or managers or supervisors within the teams. They have a negative attitude towards work in itself. They have a negative attitude towards the vision of the organization or the strategy that has been established. So we need to go through a process where we can be transformed in terms of attitude, in terms of priorities. Because at times we can have shared goals as a team, but the problem is for some people within our teams, they don't know how to prioritize. So they're always struggling to deliver in time, struggling to provide the things that are required by the other departments. So there's always frustration within the team. So this is one module you can use, and please contact us if you want to get to know more information in terms of how you can use it. Remember, the good thing is it's free and it's sponsored. But for some of you, you might be looking at this module and say, okay, I love some of the topics that are there. That's great. And I really want to do it. I'm going to sign up for it. But you know what, Berven? Our team is so much deep into a pit of untrustworthiness. People don't trust each other. People don't work well with each other. And people are not free to voice out and share even ideas. So I feel like I need more than this. Well, the good news is we've got another program as well that can help you. So this is a communication module that will help you build relationships through your teams, through your organization, so that you can establish trust within your organization. So the topics and values that are covered in this one include understanding people. They include transparency, listening, restraint, confrontation, and even respect. These are some of the key things that people struggle with within their teams and organization. The first thing is they don't understand one another, or they generally don't understand people. And the other thing is they don't know how to be transparent, or there's a lack of transparency within the team. And as we communicate, people struggle to listen to one another, even when we're in a meeting, even when we're in a situation where we're having some discussions. There are some people, the moment they open their mouths to talk, people shut their ears. Why? Because they've already, there's a lot of prejudice, and people have already concluded that this person doesn't share anything meaningful. So there are listening skills that people struggle with. And even with restraint, there are some supervisors or managers that once you make a slight mistake, instead of helping you to learn from your mistakes, they lash out at you. They don't know how to restrain their words. At times, some don't know how to restrain their actions. So you are always finding yourselves, even amongst your team, in situations where you are trying to put away fires. There are conflicts from left, right, and center, and people are struggling to work together. And in cases where there is a conflict, in cases where somebody is not being productive, some people don't know how to confront in a healthy way. Because confrontation is a good thing, but you need to know how to confront in a healthy way so that you can retain your team in the structured way that it should be restructured. And also you've got a lesson on respect. How to respect one another, how to establish boundaries within your team and still be able to bond, connect, and be productive as you work together. But differently from the other module, this one has got a price tag to it. This one would be 1,000 emalangeni per person for you to be able to do the program and establish the team. It all depends with how you see the problem of productivity within your team, the problem of team cohesion within your team, the problem of communication within your team. If you know that you've got a huge problem within your teams and your organization pertaining to some of these things, or one or two or three of these things, then I'm sure you know that the price tag is almost a giveaway, because some of the things that these problems have cost you already, they are really, really costly, and it has put you in a bad place as an organization. So please consider get in touch with us. I think already you've got our contact details. Make use of the contact details that you're seeing on in our chat section right now. Now, just to give you an idea of how these modules are structured, how you get through this whole process of actually learning how to establish trust. You learn key principles and values and knowledge and insights from the material that has been put together. Now, some of these topics, like I mentioned to you earlier on, that I'm part of the Maxwell Foundation, Maxwell team, Global Maxwell team. Some of these lessons are coming from John Maxwell's knowledge and understanding of how people work and how people function together. So you get principles and values and knowledge and insights from John and some of the greatest leaders from around the world. Principles that will help you to be well established as a team and understand one another and work together more effectively. But again, the sets are structured in this way. So you learn these principles and insights, but you also understand the benefits of growing in the specific area that you're dealing with or that you're discussing. It could be in listening, it could be in restraint, it could be in attitude, it could be in relationships. You also get to understand steps that will lead you to growth. You get to a point where you have time to have some moments of introspection. You evaluate yourself, you reflect and understand, okay, so this is who I am. This is where I am. This is how I need to improve. This is how I need to become a better person so that I can bring value to my team. And the same thing is happening within the lives and hearts of the people that are within your team as well. And it sets you up to be inspired to take immediate transformation action so that you can actually start to see a difference in how you relate with other people and how you connect with your team members and how together as a team you work with one another. So this is what I wanted to we wanted to quickly share with you as Africa for Tomorrow and help you to be positioned to establish trust within your teams. I hope we brought in some value, and I'm seeing that I tried my best to be on time. Just handing it over to everybody now. Is there anyone who has a question that they would want to ask, something that they would want to at least get some clarity of in terms of what we've been talking about in relation to building a culture where all people within your team, they feel connected, they feel engaged, and they feel valued? Does anyone have a question that you'd want to ask? Please just, you can ask it in the chat section, or you can just raise your hand and we'll allow you to unmute and you can ask the question. For anyone who doesn't have a question, please, you can just show us the thumbs up so that we know we are on the same page. Has this been valuable to you? Has it been making sense? Has it add value to your understanding of the importance of building trust in your teams? All right. Okay, so Dudu, you're good. Thank you for that. Okay. Okay, thanks, Patience. You're saying thank you so much for such valuable information. Definitely useful indeed. So much work has to be done in this area. And that's true. There's a lot of work that has to be done. So much of what we fail to accomplish as teams. In many cases, you know, I know all your organizations, you go through a process of strategy planning, right? Strategic planning where you're trying to establish a plan for the year or 3 years. But here's the thing, for probably all of us on this call right now, we can attest to the fact that we've experienced in many cases situations where strategy was not implemented. The problem with strategy is not the planning part of it. The problem with strategy is the implementation of the strategy. And one of the things that that makes us to fail to implement our strategies is because our teams are not as effective. And our teams usually are not as effective because we don't intentionally build trust in our teams so that we can see our teams being effective to implement that strategy. So this is going to help you with a lot of things. So thank you for that input as well, Patience. Right. So I'm seeing that we don't have many questions. We don't have any questions. Rather, I hope I didn't confuse you. I hope I didn't take you the wrong route, because when people don't have questions, it's either you've done a pretty good job or you've done a pretty good job of confusing people. So hopefully this made sense and brought in value. Okay, Patience is saying you're going to be in touch with us to see how you can explore. Yeah, not a problem. We can do that. We can do a presentation for your teams. We can do a presentation for your supervisors in your workplace so that they can see which option that they can go for as they are going to implement that. Right. Yes. So we're going to share with you the slides, Matlolo and Dudu. We're going to email you the slides with the presentation for your convenience. And so you're going to get that by the end of the day. Right. Any other question from anybody? Okay, I'm seeing that it looks like we no longer have any questions. Right. Thank you, everybody. Thank you for making time. Looking forward to hearing from you. So we're going to be in touch, and we're going to send you the details, the material later on today. And yeah, thank you so much for making time. Have a wonderful, wonderful weekend. Well, enjoy the rest of your day, but have a wonderful weekend.
Sorry, Berven. Sorry, I'm seeing Nyasi says she's got a question before you log off.
Oh, okay. Please go ahead. Go ahead, Nyasi. Nyasi, we can't hear you. I don't know if it's just me, but I can't hear you at all. Can you just check with your mic? Okay, I think we probably have lost Nyasi right there. Sorry about that, Nyasi. Because I'm seeing you unmuted, but then we can't hear anything from your end. If it's a burning question, please just type it in the chat section so that I can answer it. Oh, I'm seeing you're saying thank you for the insightful presentation. Okay, you're welcome. Thank you so much for being here. I hope that's what you wanted to say. Oh, there's a question that's coming. I'm assuming that's what you wanted to say. If there's a question, nonetheless, if any of you have a question that you want to ask later on, please feel free to email us, and we will be happy to answer you. Oh, here's the question. Please share with us how to create a good and conducive environment. Okay, so how you create, good question, Nyasi. Thank you for typing in. How you create a good and conducive environment. Because you see, the environment is not, your workplace environment is not about the walls. It's not about your furniture. It's not about your desks, your computers. It's not about your equipment. It's not about the flowers that you've got. Yes, some of those things, they do contribute to, just having a specific atmosphere in a sense that you would want. But for you to have a conducive environment is dependent on people's attitudes, how people relate with one another, how people respond and connect with one another. That's what determines a conducive environment. So if you want to create a good and conducive environment, Nyasi, and everybody who's online right now, you need to be intentional. Be intentional about how you create your culture. Because when we're talking about creating a culture, right? You can generally have one culture within your organization, but you can intentionally have some structured way of having some sort of a multi-culture within your organization. And one of the elements of your multi-culture within your organization that you can have, or within your team, is to have a culture where people can communicate effectively with one another, where communication is effective, where relations and connections are not difficult. People have bonded, they know each other, they understand each other, and therefore they are able to trust each other. So building and cultivating a conducive environment has a lot to do with how you relate with each other as a team, how you relate with each other, your attitudes and all of that. That's why we are offering those programs, yes, because those programs help you to deal with those things. They help you to deal with attitudes, they help you to deal with relationships, they help you to deal with how you connect with one another, they help you to foster good relationships. Of course, having the right boundaries within your workplace, but good relationships as a team. So that's how you create a conducive environment. Remember, it's not about the flowers. I'm seeing of the flowers behind me. It's not about the flowers. It's not about the furniture. It's not about the internet speed. It's not about any other thing you can think of. Yes, those things, they aid to the environment. But the main thing, relationships, how we communicate, how we connect, our attitudes towards one another, our understanding of the purpose of the organization. All those things, they help you to create a conducive environment. I hope I answered you, Nyasi. Right. All right, everybody, thank you so much. Thank you very much. Enjoy the rest of your day. Have a blessed day and have a wonderful weekend. Hope to hear from you soon. Bye-bye.